Brooklyn ain't just bricks, blood, and bullets no more. Nah, now it's sweet. We talkin' Brooklyn Bloodlines candy, the only candy tough enough to sit at the table. Mikey the Hammer Fudge Bar. One bite, you're down for the count. Hazelnut, dark chocolate, espresso crunch. Forget about it. Red Velvet Vendetta Taffy. Soft, chewy, with a hit that comes out of nowhere. Like a friendly tap that turns into a left hook. Concrete jungle lollipops. Hard as the streets, sweet as the score. They last longer than a sit-down with Goku D'Angelo. Cannoli Crunch bites, bite-sized, but pack more power than a capo in a Cadillac. Ricotta Cream Center. Forget about it. Brooklyn Bloodlines candy. One taste, you're made. Don't be a gavone eating them store-bought Mook's candy. Get yourself a piece of the empire. Brooklyn Bloodlines candy. Ask your bookie today.
In memory of my good friend Johnny Fischetti, rest in peace. Rocco Fischetti, the entertainer of the Underworld. From Chicago's gin halls to Vegas' golden sands. A Pizzaverse historical documentary. Written by Bambi Palermo, narrated by Vincent DiPrio. The Quiet Power. There's two kinds of gangsters in this world, the ones that love the limelight and the ones that own the lights. Rocky Fischetti, he was the second kind. When Al Capone was building his empire, Rocky was the one making sure the gears kept turning. He didn't need the papers. He didn't need the fame. He was the man behind the throne, making sure the king of Chicago never fell off it. And when Al went down, Rocco didn't sink with him. He evolved. He became something rarer, a bridge between the old blood and the new business. To the cops, he was a suspected racketeer. To Sinatra, he was Uncle Rocky. To the outfit, he was the connection. Born in the smoke of Chicago. Chicago, 1903. The air smelled like coal, gin, and ambition. Rocco Fischetti was born into the Italian-American enclave on the South Side, same block as his cousins, the Capones. Poor families, but rich in one thing, loyalty. From a young age, Rocco had a knack for organization. While other kids were throwing rocks, he was running dice games in alleyways, setting odds and taking a cut. He wasn't violent. He didn't need to be. He learned early that the real power came from connections, not fists. By the early 1920s, he was a driver, messenger, and part-time enforcer for Johnny Torrio's crew, the organization Al Capone would later inherit. When Torrio got shot and left the business to Al, the Capones brought in the family, and Rocco was top of that list. The rise of Capone's inner circle. The Fischetti brothers, Rocco, Charles, and Joseph, became Al's personal circle. They handled cash, shipments, clubs, and insurance policies. That's mob talk for payoffs. Rocco was Al's chauffeur and right-hand man, but he was more than muscle. He was the guy who handled sensitive deals, made introductions, and managed people who were too scared to talk to Capone himself. Every major hit, every big bootleg deal that went smooth, chances are, Rocco had his fingerprints on it. He ran the logistics, the trucks, the payments, the timing. When Capone took over Cicero, Rocco became a local celebrity in the underworld, never in the papers, but always in the room. He wasn't a killer, he was an architect. Capone had firepower, Rocco had finesse. The king's shadow. You ever hear about the Lexington Hotel headquarters? That was Al's fortress, a hotel turned headquarters, and sitting outside, always calm, always ready, was Rocco Fischetti. He drove Al, protected Al, and handled the money that passed through those walls. Reporters saw Al and his entourage roll up in Cadillacs and Packards, flashing jewelry and cigars. But behind that flash was Rocco, keeping the books balanced, keeping the guards loyal, making sure every delivery was clockwork. He didn't smoke much, didn't drink heavy. He was a thinker, the one who'd say, "Let's cool it, Al. Too much heat." Capone respected that. In a world full of yes-men, Rocco told him the truth. That's why when the feds came sniffing, Capone kept him close, because Rocco knew how to disappear paper trails, calm witnesses, and bribe judges without a single ripple. The Fall of Scarface, 1931. Al Capone goes down for tax evasion, the crime that made America laugh and cry at the same time. The King of Chicago was finished. But the Fischettis, they didn't fall with him. When Capone was sent to Alcatraz, Rocco handled his affairs back home. He visited Al's wife, took care of the family, paid off debts. When Al came back home to Palm Island years later sick, broken from syphilis, it was Rocco who stayed by his side. He managed the estates, dealt with the bank, and made sure Al's final years were peaceful. They say he even handled the funeral arrangements, quiet, simple, dignified. That's loyalty money can't buy. The Vegas expansion. Now here's where it gets interesting. The 40s come rolling in, and the old bootleg empire's gotta evolve. Prohibition's over. Booze is legal. So what's the next frontier? Gambling. Vegas was still a desert town with more jackrabbits than people, but the mob saw a future. And who do they send to help set up shop? Rocco Fischetti. The Fischetti brothers invested in early Vegas ventures casinos, hotels, nightclubs. They weren't front-page names, but their money helped build the foundation. Vegas became the new bootleg route: clean cash, clean faces, same dirty hearts. And when the Sands opened, Rocco was there, shaking hands with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sam Giancana, and a dozen silent partners who didn't exist on paper. He turned mob money into glamour, made it sparkle, made it safe, made it respectable. The Sinatra connection. By the 1950s, Rocco was practically part of Sinatra's circle. He organized Vegas gigs, greased local politicians, made sure the boys were protected. The FBI didn't like it. They called Sinatra a front for the outfit. But the truth, Rocco was the one who made it all work. When Sinatra needed a gig in Havana, Rocco made a call. When the Rat Pack wanted exclusivity at the Sands, Rocco handled the contracts. He was the mediator between the mob and the music, the guy who made the deal without the show. Even the Havana Conference of 1946, the big mob summit led by Lucky Luciano Rocco, was there, representing Chicago. In a room full of killers, he was the gentleman, quiet, observant, respected. The heat of the 50s. The feds eventually came knocking. Between the Kefauver hearings, the FBI reports, and state crackdowns, Rocco's name popped up more than once. They linked him to Teamster loans, casino fronts, and union kickbacks. But Rocco, he was untouchable. Never convicted, never caught dirty. He knew how to play the game, make friends, pay debts, keep no records. The agent said, "He's Capone without the headlines." That's the highest compliment a gangster can get. The gentleman's exit. Rocco Fischetti passed away in 1964, age 60. He died at home, surrounded by family, not bullets. You know how rare that is in his line of work? That's like seeing a priest win a poker game. He went out quietly, the same way he lived: no headlines, no betrayal, no chaos. Just silence, respect, and a legacy built on loyalty. After his death, the Vegas operations he helped create exploded into the billion-dollar empire we know today. And somewhere in the neon and champagne, his fingerprints still linger. He may not have owned the stage, but make no mistake, he built it. The man behind the curtain. Every king's got a crown, but not every crown stays polished. Capone's empire fell apart. Luciano went to Italy. But the men who adapted, the quiet ones, the fixers, they kept building. Rocco Fischetti was the bridge between the old-school mob and the golden age of Vegas. He turned blood money into showbiz, violence into glamour, and sin into spectacle. He never shot nobody. Never stood on a balcony screaming orders. He didn't have to. His power came from presence, the kind that don't need to shout. You never heard him coming. But the world danced to his tune anyway. Word to the wise. Sometimes the flashiest man in the room ain't the one running it. Rocco Fischetti understood the greatest secret in power: control without exposure. You don't gotta be seen to be in charge. Real leaders pull strings from the shadows while the puppets fight for the stage. In every empire, there's a Rocco, the man who smiles while holding all the cards. He don't need applause. He just needs precision. That's how you live long enough to see your enemies make headlines, while you make history. This has been a Pizzaverse Studios historical documentary, written by Bambi Palermo. A Pizzaverse Studios production. If you love the stories that built America's shadows, subscribe to Bambi's channel and keep those notifications ringing. Because here at the Pizzaverse, we don't rewrite history. We excavate it.
When I go into that ground, I won't go quietly. I'm bringing my crown. When I go into that ground, oh, they gotta bury me face down. From the rubble, what do I see? There's a whole damn army thinking that they're gonna harm me, saying that I'll never get free. Oh, I got troubles, they won't let me be. But I won't get tired, set the town on fire till my troubles got trouble with me. Thinking that they've won, it's only just begun. When I go into that ground, I won't go quietly. I'm bringing my crown. And when I go into that ground, oh, they gotta bury me face down. I've been on the run since I was a boy, but now I'm done running, got another thing coming. Watch my enemies get destroyed. Oh, I got troubles of more than one kind, but I never sleep. Gotta bury me 6 feet deep where the sun don't shine. Thinking that they've won, it's only just begun.